You've got an Epstein survivor coming on your channel. It's out soon. What's that about?
Yeah, so I've just interviewed Juliet Bryant, who I did interview years ago, but that got banned as well. We've done about an hour and a half with Juliet. I think it's the best interview she's done with us. Phenomenal woman. She spent almost 2 years with Epstein and Maxwell. So she was out of South Africa, and she ended up getting spotted as a model when she was a teenager. And then as she's submitting her work and stuff, falls into the clutches of Epstein and Maxwell, who took her to the States, took her to the island. The evil deeds began.
How's it affected her life now?
Terribly. She's traumatized. She's living in a secure compound with attack dogs. They were jumping around in the back while I was interviewing her. But she was taken to places like trips, and she was on the Lolita Express with Kevin Spacey, with Bill Clinton, and all these huge names. And she was saying that, you know, when Bill Clinton would come out of a certain room, there was a smell of death, like corpses and cleaning chemicals attached to him. So she gives all these details of weird things surrounding huge names. And, you know, you mentioned Prince Andrew as being untouchable. Bill Clinton is another one who's untouchable. There was dozens of times he flew on the Lolita Express, and on the flight logs, his name's right there. And it's got all of these East European sounding girls with him on those flights. And he leaves his security detail behind.
Is that right? Because I think for a long time, I guess I want to sort of be that boring guy who goes, well, you know, if I'd been invited to some sort of party of some sort of billionaire on an island and I didn't know much about what was going on, you know, now that I've heard about Epstein, I'd be a bit careful. But maybe a few years ago, oh, that sounds fun. Maybe I'll take my wife and we'll go on a nice holiday. And I want to be careful about the flight logs because I'm sure some people, I mean, Stephen Hawking was on one of them, wasn't he?
All right, let's go before the flight logs then.
Yeah.
So I've written a book, Clinton, Bush and CIA Conspiracies, and I researched the hell out of the Clinton crime family. And that's what led me to Epstein. So he was a serial rapist and cokehead.
Bill Clinton?
Yes.
Do we have to legal this?
All right. I'm going to allege that Bill Clinton was a serial rapist and cokehead going back to when he was the governor of Arkansas. And it was the CIA, they wanted the sleaziest, most corrupt governor to choose that state to smuggle the white powder in from South America to finance these wars against the communists in Nicaragua. And Bill Clinton provided the state security for the drug drops. And his own brother, half-brother, Roger Clinton, was busted buying coke from an undercover cop and recorded saying, some of this is for Bill, he's got a nose like a vacuum cleaner. And that cop knew if he didn't out that arrest really quickly, it would all get covered up. So they put Roger Clinton in prison to show that no one is above the law and that the Clintons are moral, upstanding pillars of the community. Meanwhile, he's got multiple allegations of raping women, sexual assaults. And Hillary Clinton tracked a lot of these women down with private investigators, threatened their lives, pets were murdered, people were thrown off balconies. And this is the genesis of the hashtag Clinton body count. They had a coroner, Fahmy Malek, who, when Bill's mum had accidentally unalived someone when she was working in the medical profession, Fahmy Malek had come in and he adjusted the cause of death. So Bill Clinton owed him for the rest of his life. And Fahmy Malek would come in, and if you had been shot in the head or if someone had strangled you, he would say that you drowned in a swimming pool. Some of the rulings were that bizarre. People need to research hashtag Clinton body count and Fahmy Malek's rulings because there are dozens of them. I've done a whole chapter on those in Clinton, Bush and CIA Conspiracies. Yeah.
This is what it's like having dinner with you.
Trump brought those women because they settled, the women he'd raped, settled out of court and signed NDAs, so they're never allowed to talk about it. Jennifer Flowers, etc. Trump brought them to sit near the front row when he was debating Hillary Clinton. They couldn't speak, but he brought them as a show of force.
So he knows.
It's common knowledge that these women have settled all these lawsuits with Bill Clinton. It's common knowledge that he was a huge cokehead back then. He was hospitalized for damage to his nasal septum, and Hillary said to all the staff, if you breathe a word of this to anyone, you'll lose your jobs. You'll never get a job again as long as you live. They were terrified of Hillary. Hillary's law firm, Rose Law Firm. This is how they were laundering a lot of the money that was coming in from the white powder, from the coke deals they were doing with the CIA. And it was because Clinton was playing ball with the CIA. He parlayed that into getting the White House. The coke operation was run by George H.W. Bush, who was fighting the war on drugs, saying Pablo Escobar was the bogeyman. Meanwhile, he had Felix Rodriguez from the CIA and Oliver North, who kept diaries of what he was doing, documented in these South American countries with the white powder. These guys were bringing it in, and they chose Clinton, Arkansas, to bring it in because he was the most corrupt governor. So he was heavily into the white stuff. Terry Reid wrote an excellent book called Compromised. He was a co-pilot with Barry Seal. Barry Seal was bringing it in. I wrote a book about him, American Made, Who Killed Barry Seal. And in Compromised, Terry Seal didn't realize at the time what was happening. Barry wasn't telling him what they were transporting, but he cottoned on, and then they threatened his life. And when he tried to out Bill Clinton, they did a huge hit piece. I think it was the New York Post, making Terry Reid out to be a nutcase. And they criminalized him and his wife. They put them in prison to try and suppress him from getting this out. But Alex Jones did a lot exposing the Clinton drug trafficking, the raping, just the insane behavior of him as the governor of Arkansas.
So you would say, with all of that in mind, and him being on the flight logs with lots of Soviet-sounding women, it would be naive of me to suggest he might just have been going for a holiday.
I would say that he has proclivities, based on my research, that have led me to believe there's a high probability factor he was diddling East European girls being brought in by Jean-Luc Brunel to the Epstein human transportation network.
Do you think there were British celebrities and elites, Andrew aside, that were involved?
Well, the commonality between the Epstein ring and the Diddy ring is Naomi Campbell.
Was she the model?
Yeah.
What's she getting involved in?
When you talk about the satanic PDF elite rings, she's everywhere as like I don't want to make any allegations, actually, because I'm not.
Oh, you don't? You don't, Shaun? Oh, that's interesting. Okay, well, we'll scrap
I'm
the
gonna,
first
I'm going to bite
40
my
minutes.
tongue on that one.
Bloody hell. For a long time, as I say, I thought this was, it's a really difficult position for somebody who's a skeptic like me to be in, because so much of this stuff has turned out to be true. And I'm trying to work out, okay, to what.
91% watching Heretics clips are not subscribed. Quick favor, hit subscribe. Free, takes 2 seconds, and helps us question everything together.